When will Activision Blizzard learn? Over the past week, they've made some horrible business decisions and will continue to make horrible business decisions. First of all, they've decided to scrap PvE, not entirely, but restructuring it into a way that I'm sure is only going to push, like, spending money in the game, battle passes, going to come once a month, or like once a season. Which, first of all, the amount of content promised, repeatable missions, skill trees, etc., will not be that. If we compare it to the current game mode that was out the other week, I don't know if it still is, like the Star Galactica thing, that was awful, not replayable, finished the whole of event in an hour and a half. If that's what's going to happen, you're going to have 2 hours worth of content. What was the fucking point? 4 years and they've decided only now to tell us. Don't get me wrong, it's better that they did tell us instead of waiting for another year and a bit, but still, 8 months since they decided to cancel it. First of all, what were you then doing for them 3 and a bit years? Also, what happened to the product they were playing? Back at BlizzCon and E3, you had actual content creators playing the game. What happened to that? Did we just forget about it? And then Activision themselves, more the COD side of things, have decided to basically get rid of every single bit of support for Black Ops 3 through the communities. This doesn't inherently mean, like, workshop maps and stuff going away, but now you cannot safely play Black Ops 3 online. And we're like, oh, safely. What I'm saying is, you're not able to play it because hackers run rampant in it. It is so easy to backdoor someone when they're playing it. It's wild. And I can understand a statement for some of these. Some of them you didn't have to purchase the game for. But like, Boii, as in BOIII, a custom server hosting thing effectively, you had to own the game for that. There is no reason to shut it down. They're not doing anything. They've cease and desist like 4 or 5, and they're going to continue doing it. And all it really shows towards the COD community as a whole is that they do not care. Activision do not care. Not about you, all they care about is your money. Hence why you see the switch from like the old CODs, a lot of content, maps coming out, well thought out maps. Now it's just whatever the fuck they feel like they sling in and they get away with it every single time. And there's so many different thoughts you can have about this, but it's pathetic. Compared to the content they used to push out, compared to now is awful. The weapons are unbalanced consistently. Don't get me wrong, there's always been unbalanced weapons, but they're just no care at all. And if you, again, compare it to the older CODs, Black Ops 3, like the last really, really good. I'd also say maybe like Black Ops 4 was also quite good, but since then it's just been a downward slope and going a lot more towards microtransactions that cost so much money. And that's the same thing with like Blizzard. They built Overwatch 2 for effectively no reason. They changed it 6v6 and 5v5, which, depending on your stance, is better or worse for the game. They completely revamped some maps by changing the day-nighttime cycle of it. Added push, got rid of 2CP, which isn't awful, but I didn't hate 2CP that much. I stand away from the crowd here. And yet they don't give us any more content. There was no reason for them to literally completely kill off Overwatch 1. No more content, no more maps for like 2 years. And instead what they decided to do is make Overwatch 2, where their main staple was the reason they were going to bring up PvE. They then decided PvE was not ready at launch. They were going to release it later. However, if you do some mental maths here, 8 months away from roughly now, what was that? When Overwatch 2 came out. So they knew on launch they were not going to be making PvE the way they promised. And then they decided this long to tell us. And I know some people who bought like packs and everything, like, oh my god, yeah, Overwatch 2, they got rid of so much as well. On fire, it's in the game's coding. You can hear your character say, oh, I'm on fire! But now it's not there in the corner, and now they're bringing it back like it's a big feature. It's not. People are praising it for too much. And I'm not saying don't play Overwatch, it's an enjoyable game. But boycott spending money on the game. It's not, your money is not worth something. They're going to sit inside bank accounts for ages. And consumers, they're not going to listen to consumers unless you don't give them money. And the same thing with the pricing in the game. It is so expensive as something you're not going to be seeing. In third-person games, I can understand expensive skins because you'll be consistently looking at your character. I can understand weapon skins in certain games. Like COD, I'm not a fan of how much they're worth, and I don't suggest anyone ever spend any money in the game. However, I can understand if you wanted to buy skins in that for your weapon, as it's something you will be looking at consistently. Same with Valorant, same with CSGO. When it's your character, especially in Overwatch, all it's affecting is your gun at most, but you're paying for the whole character. And even then, it's not worth it. If you're talking for a legendary skin, at launch it was 16 quid. I think now you can buy like 2 legendary skins for like 20 quid. which granted is like okay, but it's for an FPS it's not worth it at all. And then it's just been so much for Overwatch that they've just made mistake after mistake. You talk about Lifeweaver, horrible character. I don't know a single person that likes him. He's only viable at really high, so easy to troll with. That design was just an awful waste of time. And it's a consistent thing. Like, it's not the first time it happened. It's not the worst. He's a really shit healer. And also, the amount of content that comes out is just not worth the time you're waiting for. Same thing with Apex Legends. Apex Legends rank system now is awful. That just sprung to my mind. But quite genuinely, Overwatch is in a dire state at the moment. Not as much as COD. I don't see COD lasting as long as they want it to. I think unless they make a drastic change, especially with the Microsoft Activision Blizzard takeover now being denied because of the UK's. I'm not actually too sure about that. I just know they denied it. It's not looking good for COD or Overwatch. I imagine Overwatch will probably continue to what they do and make money because it's some people's favourite games. People will spend money on it. Whatever, it doesn't matter to them because their bank account is already so big. But it's just not looking good. I'll definitely do a whole video at some point about the whole Activision situation. We're closing them all down because it's a big thing. And it's really just killing old games for no reason at all. But thank you very much for listening and watching. Have a nice day.